All right, welcome everyone on this Monday, November 2nd, to a special edition of our Teach for America Eastern North Carolina ZoomThru interviews. I could not be more thrilled today to have a special guest with me this morning who's going to give us a little peek into next week's summit. And so I hope you'll enjoy our time and welcome my dear friend and colleague in this work, Wisdom Amouzou, who is with us. Wisdom is a Teach for America alum and a 2015 National Suleiman Award winner who has built a school that is remarkable. And he is going to talk to us a little bit next week about how we can think about our leadership in this moment and with our students and what can be true. And Wisdom, it's so good to have you this morning. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Andrew.
Yeah. Now, Wisdom, we start every single ZoomThru interview with the same two questions. And the reason why is that we believe these two questions are fundamental to how leadership for systems transformation happens. That in a world that is inequitable and designed to be inequitable, if we don't know who we are and we don't know what we're committed to, then it's really hard to make choices grounded in liberation and injustice, and changing the world and changing the reality with students and families. And so I'm going to start there, my friend. Who are you and what are you up to?
Thank you for that. Who am I? First and foremost, I think at my core, I'm an artist trying to survive the bureaucracy of our system. We'll talk next week about how that's going. And then other than that, I'm a brother. That's always core to my identity since I have 5 brothers and grew up with that, experience. And then lastly, I'm an African. I was born in Togo, West Africa, and immigrated to the States for my family when I was 9. So those are the core identities I think I bring into spaces. And then the second question was, what am I up to, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm trying to honestly disrupt my relationship to work and not burn out this year. Leading a startup school in year 2 during a pandemic is proving to be extremely difficult. And I've never felt this deep in burnout. So I'm actively taking steps to better take care of my wellness so I can actually be in this game long term. And the reason I want to be in the game long term is because, we're on a 100-year path here. Our vision is not going to be reached tomorrow or even the end of this year. And what's key is sustainable leadership that can see this thing through. And for those who don't know, the majority of my work is at Empower Community High School. And it was a school that was co-created with our community and launched last year with 120 ninth graders. And the vision of the school was written by a student named Jay Carter, and it is "The world is ours." It's the most succinct, inspiring vision I've ever been exposed to. And then the mission is authentic education that is led by students, guided by educators, and co-created with community. And sometimes I think it could have been no worse time to launch a new school. And oddly enough, no better time, given just the amount of disruption we are experiencing system-wide.
Yeah, what a beautiful articulation of who you are and what you're up to. Thank you for that gift this morning. And I love the vision for your school. You beat me to it, that my brain was processing and thinking, what a succinct, powerful vision. Maybe the most succinct and powerful I've ever been part of or been exposed to myself. So as you think about this moment and this idea that it could be the worst time and also the best time, given what we face, what keeps you going? This idea of not burning out and sustainability. And I know the way you lead is deeply in relationship and connection with people, but I'm curious kind of what steps you've been taking to take care of yourself, and to be with the others in your community right now.
Yeah, Um, I think especially in 2020, this is also the day before the election. You got to talk about that. In 2020, inhabiting a Black body in America. Um, I think it was in June when I just mentally committed. It was when the one who was shot while he was running. When that one happened, uh, for me, I think it was finally the straw that broke the camel's back. And I think I personally, like, I made a commitment to myself that actually, yeah, quite literally, and this is for me, I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else. The only thing that gives me hope in this country is its children. And literally, I think if it was not for this project, this school, yeah, I actually don't think I could experience any semblance of psychological safety and the kind needed to really build a home here. So for me, it's been an excellent avenue to focus my energy on something creative and not destructive. And then taking that same sentiment and applying it to myself. Because you can actually internalize all that violence. You can internalize the hyper state of partisanship. You can internalize the serious levels of chaos at the national level. And you can actually, and I was experiencing all kinds of symptoms in my body with the level of anxiety this year. And so just applying that same sentiment of, okay, you know what, I'm going to radically prioritize my well-being, my sense of safety, my sense of peace. And if I do that very well, the children I serve will be better served by that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but actually, I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, I mean, I think you did, and you offered us something incredibly profound. I think both the realization in this moment of where you find psychological safety, and also the idea of the hope coming from young people. I share that view, and I find when I'm in proximity with them, it doesn't assuage any of the concerns or anxiety I have, or the ways I see the system move that doesn't work for what I'm up to. But it does make me think that, young people have the path. If we can, I'm a big football fan, so I think a lot about how are we as adults, educators, community leaders paving the way, right? How are we offensive linemen, and kind of saying, let's figure out how we can keep the threats and all the ways the system dehumanizes us, dehumanizes people of color, dehumanizes students, and help them run towards the future that they are ready to shape. And I think they're ready to shape it today, honestly. We just get in the way sometimes. And by we, I mean adults, but also just mean the system we have. So I really appreciate that. And, it's making me think, we talk a lot about Ella Baker here in Eastern North Carolina. She was from rural Eastern North Carolina, where we have core members and alumni. And I've always thought deeply about Miss Baker and the lessons she's taught. But, something I've always admired about your work, and you just pointed to there, is that, it sometimes people have the answers. They just need light, is one of the things, Ella Baker shared with us. And how, as you're running your school, and I know you're in year 2, and it's a big project, and I know the way you lead, and so it's deeply collaborative and co-created. What are some of the things that are, what are some of the specific things you've seen take root in the last couple of years that are powering you and giving you some of that hope in this moment?
Yeah, in this this year, there are. Yeah. So first, I'll carry the same theme of. Then I'll think more generally. If I apply the same theme, especially this summer, and there was just something about this summer that just felt, I don't know, extra. And one concrete thing that gave us a lot of fuel for the rest of the year And it literally happened in the midst of, like at the height of all the chaos, for lack of a better word. And it was seeing two of our students, a core part of our model is getting the kids paid for unleashing their genius, and getting paid to use their brain beyond just nothing wrong with working at McDonald's, but exposing them to more career opportunities than that, and not waiting until they graduate to do it, but as an active part of the learning experience. And seeing two of our top students, both of them Black, and amidst all of that, they both earned the first. For us, that's the first everything. So I need to actually stop saying that. They both got this internship, and they were basically paid consultants with a local foundation called Gary Community Investments, and they each got paid $5,000, which all the adults joked that was dangerously close to our take-home pay. And they each got paid $5,000 over the summer, and they consulted with the local foundation to help them redesign how they invest funds in their community, in a spirit of co-creation. And the reason I thought that was really powerful, one, we're in a capitalist society. I don't care what you say. If you're going to end capitalism tomorrow, knock yourself out. It's not going away anytime soon, and the children need money to thrive in this economy. So that was real material hope. Two, the children beginning to remix systems and practices and cultures they're exposed to here, and then directly impacting an organization that has to give out upwards of $300 million by 2025. Yeah, I'll take that. That for me is a real, it's a real critical hope, because you got to see the kids, one, just like you were talking about consciousness, raise the consciousness of, oh, there's this thing called a foundation, and I've probably received benefits from them, but I had no idea they existed. And now I'm presenting to their board. I'm presenting on a strategy. I'm redesigning their systems. There's just like, I felt empowered, to be honest, just watching it. And what I love also is when sometimes they don't even have the awareness of, when I was their age, my first job, I was being paid, I think $7.50 to 12 signs for 8 hours on a random street block. There was nothing inspiring about that. And there was everything soul killing about that. So for me, honestly, especially since I grew up here, it's just very healing to see, just little tiny proof points. And that for me fueled enough to figure out, all right, how do we get more of this? And I'm not even going to get into, honestly, the level of, like, I was this impacted. I don't even have the words yet to describe the difference in those two students with how they're showing up this year. Yeah, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Oh man, thank you for sharing that. I'm getting some critical hope from that this morning. I mean, this is one of the things we believe, and it's out there, and it's radical, but we believe in radical things if we want a radically different vision for the future. And I think that example is such a profound one because, students can lead today. Like, they have that consciousness, they have the skills, they have that resilience in spades. And so the work of seeing them take what they're working on and the conditions you all co-created together, and then take that out in the world is everything we want. And I think it's also this idea that, like, small is all, that we pick up from Adrienne Marie Brown, that, like, sure, we want big systems change. We're going to always fight for that. But what we do right here and what we create right here actually has the power to shape what happens out there. And so what a beautiful way to start our Monday. And one quick thing, remind us where here is. You mentioned you're from here. We talked about school. Give us a little geographical context.
Sure. I'm in Colorado, and the specific city is Aurora. And it's about 20 minutes east of Denver, which most people are familiar with.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I normally at this point would say, Wisdom, share with us all your insights and your brilliance, but we're going to have more time with you next week. So I won't take more of your precious time today, other than to ask you, if you had to give a preview, or, as folks are watching this pre-election today, knowing that next week we'll be together, what do you hope can be true of our time together next week, and why should they join us?
Well, what I hope to be true of our time together next week is, honestly, we'll be about a week removed from this election, and regardless, there is work to be done with fostering a serious sense of unity and solidarity, and beginning to imagine those radical futures. So for those 30 minutes next week, likely we'll spend a little bit of time on the consciousness of the problems which lead us to where we are today. And then we're going to practice imaginative excellence, and truly pushing. I'll share some examples from our work of how we can remix the wisdom of our ancestors, the wisdom of those who have done what most of us are trying to do before. How do we remix that in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic? Even as I say that, I'm like, well, let me go figure that out.
Well,
I offer no certainty. I offer no silver bullets. I just offer transparency and vulnerability. So come on through.
man. Well, we, as someone who's been able to listen to you before and learn a lot from your work as a core member and as a teacher and as a creator of the future with students, I can tell you, if you're listening today, you won't want to miss this 30 minutes. There won't be neat, it won't be, easy answers, because none of this stuff is easy, but imaginative excellence. What a beautiful thing to aspire to and to commit to. And that's what it'll be next week. And Wisdom, I can't thank you enough for giving us a few minutes of your time today. I hope you take care of yourself. I know it's just a busy week, and there's a lot of anxiety for folks. And so take care of yourself. We will see you next Tuesday. And to our core, same for you. Take care of yourself. I know you're holding a lot, and we'll be together next week to pursue this radical future and to think about how we show up with kids to create a radically different future. So thank you, friends. Have a good rest of your Monday, and I will see you soon.
Thank you.